If a man has committed a sin worthy of death, and he is put to death, and you hang him on a tree, his corpse shall not hang all night on the tree, but you shall surely bury him on the same day, for he who is hanged is accursed of God, so that you do not defile your land which the Lord your God gives you as an inheritance. So God had given them the reality that if they had executed someone for a just cause, they didn't leave that person hanging there until the next day. Now this is even more significant when the next day is the Sabbath day. They did not want 3 bodies hanging on crosses on the Sabbath day. And this was not just any Sabbath, this was Passover. And so all 3 would have desecrated the Sabbath. They would have desecrated this Passover Sabbath if left on the cross, dead or alive. To leave the bodies on the cross in the eyes of the Jewish leaders would have been to defile the land. This is something of an insight into their hypocrisy. They didn't want dead bodies defiling the land, even though one of those bodies belonged to the Son of God and the Messiah, whom they had sentenced to death. And by the way, they had already had a conversation with Pilate and at some point entered his praetorium, which would have defiled them for certain by their own ceremonial tradition to enter into any Gentile place. Familiar with crucifixion, they knew the way to speed it up was pretty simple. Verse 31, they asked Pilate to give them permission to break their legs. What they would do is take a mallet and smash the femur on each leg. They would asphyxiate rather rapidly, as well as the shock and the blood loss. The asphyxiation would take their lives very rapidly. You'll notice the man's name is Pilate, who was the governor at that time, the procurator under Tiberius for a period from about 26 to 36 AD, so through the time of the death of our Lord. So they asked if they could break those femurs so those men would die before the day previous to Sabbath was over. And again, this was the day of preparation. This is Friday, and it's important that these bodies be down off the cross to the Jews before the Sabbath begins, or on Friday, and that's important. And that they might, at the end of verse 31, be taken away, removed. So the soldiers came, having been given the permission, and broke the legs of the first man and of the other who was crucified with him. But coming to Jesus, when they saw that he was already dead, they didn't break his legs. But one of the soldiers pierced his side with a spear, and immediately blood and water came out.